Today on the Women Mind the Water Art of It Series podcast on womenmindthewater.com, I'm speaking with Arielle Moody. Arielle worked in the beauty industry for more than 15 years before she started her own company. She wanted to create sunscreens without toxic ingredients. Mama Soul's tagline is, "For all mamas, Mother Earth included." The Women Mind the Water Art of It Series podcast on womenmindthewater.com engages artists in conversation about their work and explores their connection with the ocean. Through their stories, Women Mind the Water hopes to inspire and encourage action to protect the ocean and her creatures. On this podcast, I'm speaking with Arielle Moody. Arielle is co-founder of Mama Soul, a company started by three women who wanted to protect themselves, their children, and the planet from the harmful petrochemicals found in many commercial available sunscreens. In addition to protecting the skin from the harmful rays of the sun, these sunscreens do it without chemicals like oxybenzone. These sunscreens are also less harmful to coral reefs. Any reduction in toxic chemicals is valuable, as it's been estimated that roughly 1/5 of the world's coral has died in the past 3 years. Arielle, I'm pleased to welcome you to the Women Mind the Water Art of It Series podcast. I'm interested to hear from someone who can talk knowledgeably about the cosmetic industry. The industry in the past has received negative publicity for practices that range from excessive packaging waste, unsustainable sourcing, and the use of chemicals that contribute to water pollution. So let's begin by learning something about you. Was being outdoors an important part of your childhood?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I think this is a really important topic, and I hope your listeners are excited to learn more. Being outside for me was everything in my childhood. I grew up playing sports my entire life, so I was always outside. I was a beach goer in the summers. I spent too much time in the sun. If you ask my mom, who is an eye surgeon and one of the founders of our company, I used to put baby oil on my face when I was young. And so now obviously that has changed quite drastically. And I'm excited to talk all about the ways in which to protect yourself from the sun and still have fun outdoors.
Very good. So what led you to work on focusing both the skin damage from the sun and at the same time avoid contributing to the demise of coral reefs?
So when I was 5 months pregnant with my first son, I started researching ingredients to avoid when you're pregnant or nursing. And the list was so long, and oxybenzone and octinoxate were one of the top on the list. And I didn't realize at the time like how toxic sunscreen was for everybody who was using it. And so I started buying dozens of mineral sunscreens, and I could not find one that I loved. And being when you're pregnant, for example, you're even more sensitive to the sun. So that was even more reason why I got so interested at the time in the topic. But everybody should be protecting their skin. So when I couldn't find what I was looking for, being that I have over 15 years of beauty experience, I decided to hire a chemist. And I said, I'm ready to create something that I want to use, that I feel safe using, that I look forward to using, because there's so many reasons why I think people don't use sunscreen. And I wanted to change that and end the excuses.
Okay, very interesting. So explain for us the term cosmetic industry. I just threw that word out, but what exactly does the term encompass?
Yeah, so it really refers to the development and the production and the marketing and the sale of personal care products that are designed to enhance your appearance or improve your hygiene or maintain skin or hair health.
So when did you become interested in the cosmetic industry? Was it something that you always dreamed about being involved in, or did you like fall into a summer job?
No, so you can ask my mom. When I was 9 years old, I used to, on Friday night, it was Friday night makeup night. And I would get in all her makeup bags and I would just sit in her bathroom with her and apply makeup every Friday night. It was what I look forward to. She knew from when I was that young that I loved the beauty industry, and I never strayed from it. My first job out of college was working for Smashbox Cosmetics. I never strayed from there. From there on, I never left the beauty industry. I never wanted to leave the beauty industry. I love it, but I think there could be a lot of improvements made. And I learned that with, all the years that I was working in it, which led me to create Mama Soul.
So tell us a little bit about the work you've done in the cosmetic industry. What aspect of the industry did you work in?
So I have done everything from starting on the sales floor, working for Nordstrom and Fred Siegel in Santa Monica, California, to working my way up to becoming head of product development for the number one skincare brand sold on HSN called Skin Cosmetics. And then from there, I became VP of sales for several leading beauty packaging and formulation suppliers. So I would work directly with really large brands. So my experience definitely is in formula, packaging, sales, trainings. I do it all.
Okay, so when you were working on those products, were you aware of, did the company in any way let the employees know or the public know that there might be negative outcomes from the production of or the sales of the products?
No, I was never told anything that about the detrimental effects of the ingredients that were being used. And honestly, I didn't even think to look into it because I was so young. I was just having fun doing my thing and following my passion. And then when I started working for a company called Bite Beauty, which was bought out by LVMH, Louis Vuitton, that's where I first got my start in clean beauty, because it was all about the lip products that were so clean. You could eat them, essentially, you could ingest them. And I started being like, wait, why isn't everybody making products this clean? And so then I started really doing a deep dive into what I was using. And that's what led me to get so passionate about sustainability and clean, non-toxic ingredients.
So that's really interesting and at the same time shocking that there isn't a requirement or a ethics that would let us know what we might be doing to ourselves or in our environment.
Yeah, I agree.
So I've interviewed a number of women entrepreneurs, and I'm always interested to learn more about the work that goes into taking a creative idea and making it a reality. So what was the main reason you decided to start Mama Soul?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this a bit earlier, and it's really, sunscreen for me when I was younger just wasn't a priority. And when I was pregnant, it became one, because I was protecting me, protecting another life. Also I'm getting older. I'm just turned 40, and I want to make sure, I'm protecting my skin from damaging rays that can cause aging. Being that there was so much misinformation out there about sunscreen, I really wanted to do my part. And I also really selfishly wanted to create something that I wanted to use, because I couldn't find it. And sunscreen is never something that I don't think people look forward to using. I think it's more of like a chore. It's an afterthought. And for those that, are using it religiously, I think they deserve to use something luxurious, something that they're excited to use. We've actually made our sunscreens they all smell like a subtle hint of lavender essential oil. So it really encourages whoever's using it to take a deep breath with each use. So we're really trying to create a mental health moment for every time you use it, and just feel your skin and touch your skin. And I think that helps you connect with yourself and connect with Mother Earth really too, because we're using really natural ingredients.
Nice ideas. So which has been more difficult, starting up a company or developing the product?
Definitely developing the product. I'm a builder. I love building. Like, that's probably one of my biggest passions has been building this company. And of course, product development is also a huge one for me as well. OTC, which is sunscreen, is extremely challenging. And there is so many parts that go into it. And if I will just say that anyone who's looking to launch a sunscreen, you better know what you're getting into because it's a lot of work. It costs a lot of money. And if you don't have the passion behind it, I don't think it would be worth it for somebody to do. I mean, I just see so much value in what we're doing. I feel like what we're doing is profound. We're not just launching like another oil or a serum. We're protecting people from getting cancer.
So who is the target audience for Mama Soul?
Everything's a treatment and multitasking to save you time. So I'd say busy moms, working moms, educated about ingredients is who our target market is.
It sounds amazing. I know when I use non-toxic mineral sunscreen, it does leave a white cast, and when you rub and rub and rub, it still seems to be there. And if it's something that also nourishes my skin, that's wonderful. So is this something that's available nationwide or just online?
We're available in the US. We're sold on D2C, and you can find us at the Four Seasons. We're in the Fairmont Hotel. We're in Ocean Reef Club in Key Largo and Carmel Valley Ranch and all these, high-end spas and hotels right now. And we are in the works of potentially launching soon in a clean beauty retailer. So TBD on that.
So what evidence did you have that you'd be able to create a successful non-toxic sunscreen business when there are so many sunscreens out there?
I always say there's room for everybody. So for anybody who's listening who thinks they've come up with this idea, but it's so saturated, there's room for you. First, the market growth is there for non-toxic sunscreen. So the global non-toxic sunscreen market is valued at around $2.5 billion in 2023, and it's projected to grow to $4.28 billion by 2032. So I also think just more people are becoming more aware about the harmful effects of chemical sunscreen-based ingredients, and there's just more, especially when the reports came out about the destruction of the coral reefs from using oxybenzone and octinoxate and those types of ingredients, that really brought an awareness to a really big problem.
So do you believe there's sufficient evidence that shows that sunscreens, like the ones you're saying have oxybenzone, is there sufficient evidence to show that they're harmful to people and the environment?
There's so many studies that have come out, and they've found oxybenzone in urine, in blood, in breast milk. And that was the study that really caught my attention, because I'm just like, I'm feeding my baby and it's supposed to be the purest of pure. And here we have oxybenzone being fed to my child. It's an endocrine disruptor, a hormone disruptor. It can cause low birth weight. It causes cell damage and skin allergies and aquatic toxicity. That can cause developmental and reproductive right issues for fish, destruction of coral reefs. The studies are there, and you just have to do a quick Google search and you'll find it.
So give us a quick primer on how to identify safe sunscreens.
Just for the audience that doesn't know the difference between mineral and chemical sunscreen, and then I'll explain what's a quick identifier is, but the difference is a physical sunscreen, which is mineral, sits on top of your skin and it protects you like a physical shield, it's much less likely to be absorbed into the bloodstream than chemical sunscreen. So chemical sunscreen, its job is to absorb into your skin, thereby going into the bloodstream, but it takes, 20 minutes to work. Physical sunscreen works immediately. We asked a world-renowned dermatologist, Dr. Kilgore, just recently, what he prefers. Do you prefer mineral or chemical sunscreen? And he said mineral. And I said, why? And he said, because UV filters in the US, the chemical filters degrade much more quickly when exposed to UV rays, whereas zinc is much more stable and it's less likely to degrade and protect you from those harmful UVA rays. So the quick identifier is if it doesn't say zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, it is a chemical sunscreen. Even if it says zinc oxide and then it also has, for example, avobenzone. Avobenzone is a UVA filter, and that's the one that he was referring to that degrades quickly. But even if it's a mix, it's still chemical. So you just want to look at the active ingredient and look for those two, and then you'll know really quickly which one it is.
So it's heartening to know that there are people like you who care about the health and that of the planet. So what advice can you offer listeners regarding how they can maintain their own well-being and at the same time support the ocean?
I think that's such a great question. I think using less plastic is one of the number one things you can do. We know that the oceans are completely polluted with our plastic consumption. And so not only that, but the reason we chose to package our formulas in glass was because microplastics are getting into the formula that you don't even realize when they're sitting in plastic. It can leach into your formula, which thereby is going onto your skin. So microplastics are the number one hormone disruptor. So this is a way where you can take care of yourself. Use less plastic or use materials like sugarcane, so that you're not putting petrochemicals onto your skin when you can help it. And then it also, of course, this is a thing that people don't realize, and I've worked in the beauty industry for a long time, and I specialize in sustainability. Most of what we use ends up in the landfill. Okay. It doesn't matter, even some of our glass products end up, but what's the difference is if glass is ending up in the landfill versus plastic ending up in the landfill, the plastic is leaching into the soil. So the less plastic, in my opinion, is the better option. And there's a lot of people who, they go back and forth. That's my take on it. So that would be my number one suggestion is just use less plastic where you can.
That's a very wise advice. So I wish you much success with Mama Soul and your efforts to protect people and the environment and your dog from harmful chemicals like oxybenzone. So I'd like to remind listeners that I've been speaking with Arielle Moody, a California-based cosmetic entrepreneur whose Mama Soul line of sunscreens aims to protect our bodies from the harmful rays of the sun without jeopardizing the health of the ocean. Arielle Moody is the latest guest on the Women Mind the Water Artivist Series podcast. This series can be viewed on Women Mind the Water, the museum on Main Street, and YouTube. An audio-only version of this podcast is available on womenmindthewater.com, on iTunes, and Spotify. Women Mind the Water is grateful to Jane Rice for the use of her song, Women of Water. All rights for the Women Mind the Water name and logo belong to Pam Ferris-Olson. This is Pam Ferris-Olson.
Thank you so much. I also want to offer your listeners a discount if they want to try our products. If you visit shopmamasoul.com, you get 15% off by using WaterMama15, and I promise you will love it, and I can't wait for you to try it.